Hi, everybody. Welcome to Behind the Scenes. We are here on Monday morning. We're always here on Monday morning. And it's always fun to get together and see everybody and report on our weekends. Well, we didn't actually do that, but theoretically, it's fun to do that. And we did a little preview of the things we're going to talk about where we laughed when maybe laughing wasn't so appropriate. And some of the things aren't ready for prime time. They're just maybe a little too much. Although I would argue, hey Dee, good to see you. I would argue that Melissa should share hers, but I don't think she's willing to. Anyway, we want you guys to also share in the comments and let us know times when you as a parent really erupted in laughter when maybe that was not the appropriate response. So I'll start with my story. My story is my oldest kid, when she was probably in second grade or maybe a little earlier, wanted glasses so badly and would tell us that she couldn't see. And so I just kind of was like, yeah, honey, we'll get you glasses. We'll take you to the doctor. And then all her friends started getting glasses and they were getting cool glasses. And so she wanted to be part of that trend. And so I took her to the eye doctor. And when they covered her left eye and said, "What do you see?" she said, "Nothing." And anyway, this is a long story about why she had an undetected lazy eye. And so she was a little old to patch, but they said, you know what? You can try. You never know. It's worth it. So what they do is they patch the eye you can see out of. So she's left with an eye that she can't see out of. And we are walking together as a family on a Sunday in this cute, quaint town. And so this girl who now has covered her good eye smashes into a parking meter. And yeah, we just fell apart with laughter. It was watching a circus and a clown, that it wasn't really anybody that you love dearly actually hurting themselves. Anyway, that story gets retold often by that daughter who did not find it funny, but the rest of the family did. So that's our moment, and I'm going to pass it on to Eka.
Okay, so my parenting moment, the thing is, I have found with parenting is so much of it is serious that when something funny happens, you kind of go with it because sometimes it's rare, that you're going to, especially in the teenage years. But this was when our daughter was younger, and she was always, with me, of course. And one weekend, she was with my husband, and he came home and he said, "You got to watch what you're saying in the car." And I was like, "I don't understand." He said, "We're driving along, and I was getting really frustrated because the traffic in front of the back seat." He heard our daughter say, yell out, "Pick a lane, bitch." And I said, "That is so not me." And he goes, "That is so you. You got to make sure you clean this one up." So, but we laughed, and he laughed too, and then kind of was like, "Honey, maybe we should use that kind of language." But we did laugh. I don't think we even laughed in front of her because we didn't want to encourage that kind of thing. So anyway,
there's a video of a little kid who it's years old, but the kid was make believe playing in the high chair and was having her dolls or something going recalibrating, driving a car. And so the husband says to the mom, "Did you get lost today?"
Out of the mouths of babes, right?
Yeah, I mean, they really are listening. They really are. So you kind of have sometimes we laugh like this. So they wouldn't know we were laughing because
they know, Eka. They know.
I know, but we would be I'd go in another room. But I always grab my laughs when I could. And I still do. But anyway.
Can I just say I just wanted to say real quick, my parents, I think, got called in for a parent-teacher conference once when my little brother was very young, and the teacher was just like, "Listen, he needs to stop making jokes because they're so funny and they're so inappropriate that I'm not allowed to laugh. You need to get him to stop."
It's true.
But
all right, who's next?
The story is, I had also a cursing situation where my younger daughter was at an engineering class and was assembling something and was just in this quiet classroom, was just muttering under her breath the whole time, like, shit, fuck, shit. And she was, but I was encouraged by other mothers to not interrupt her because they all thought this was so hilarious.
Yeah.
So we were sitting in the background laughing, which I should have really stopped, but it was just too funny.
But we need it. I too have a cursing story, but I won't share that. But I will share when my oldest, he was, I don't know, 5, 4. We took him to, one of those local little carnivals where they bring rides in, and we put him on this like airplane ride, for little kids. All it does is go up and down and around. And he hated it. He got in there and he was like bored with it. And every time he came around, the parents are standing along the fence. And every time he came around, he gave us that look and said, "Get me off this." Well, my husband and I were hysterical. First of all, we had one asleep in the store. We're like, we are not getting you. But we were crying. And it would go around, it would take 6 seconds to go around. And he'd look at us, "Get me." Anyway, that's my parenting moment. And I feel like a bad parent. Hopefully he doesn't remember. I don't know. He hasn't brought it up. But as like I said, we got to grab it when you can. And they survive. And it develops grit, right? We want all our kids to develop a little bit of grit and resilience and learn to laugh.
How old was he at the time?
17. No. No, he was probably 4, 5, young enough to know this is such a lame ride. Get me off of it. Anyway,
so funny.
Part of parenting.
Melissa, you're on.
Yeah, a lot of my stories are inappropriate, so I'm like trying to do a deep dive through my memory, and I'm gonna talk about one that is gonna embarrass my daughter like a lot. So she had just gotten her license and she was driving to school, but she had a cold at the time, and I think she was running a little late, honestly, but so she pulls into the parking lot, but she sneezes at the same time, and she like went off the road and smashed her car into a light fixture.
Oh.
So she didn't have a car for the rest of the year. And like, I don't know, I felt bad, but it was just, come on.
It was still funny.
It was funny. It was still funny. And every time we drive by, for the next however many years that she was in high school, every time we went by the light thing, we're like, there it is. She was constantly reminded. She got teased mercilessly for it, like from her classmates and stuff. But like,
But the thing is, sneezing is dangerous. Like my husband sneezes with his whole body. It is like terrifying. Like, how do you drive and stay focused like that?
Well, have you ever had a sneeze on the highway and you're like, and it takes you that minute and you're like, yeah, I agree. It's very dangerous.
Yeah. I'm so glad she was only going, I'm going to say like 15 miles an hour, 10 miles an hour, whatever. But she did end up totaling the car. So it was expensive.
She wasn't hurt.
No, she was not hurt. It was just expensive.
And then you could laugh at it later.
Yeah.
I was gonna say when I got I was trying to drive to a part-time job and one time, and I was not very smart about how to drive because it was the middle of like one of the worst like blizzards of that year, and I was just like, all right, since it's so messy, I'm gonna take the back roads. That's a much safer drive. And my dad I think laughed at me so hard when I call him, and I'm just like, I wasn't like hurt, I was just like, I am stuck in between 2 hills and I don't know how to get out.
I think parenting takes a sense of humor. I really do.
Especially when you escape injury. Like that is just, you're so grateful that there is a moment to laugh there. Like, look at the way the car landed, right? Like, look at the way you totaled the car because of your sneeze.
Right. And laughing is a stress reducer, right? Yeah. Laughing reduces stress. So yeah, it's important for us to do, and our kids to do.
Yeah. But I think sometimes you really want to laugh, but you have to like play the parent and not laugh. And sometimes, you try not to, but I've run into rooms and closed the door because I don't want it. I'm like, wait a second, I have to leave, and I leave and I go and laugh because I kind of feel like I need to be the adult in the room.
My solution, Eka, is to hug them while you're laughing. So it's like a conciliatory laughter, like my baby, my poor baby, and then they're gonna laugh over their shoulder.
Yeah, and then they say, "Mom, are you laughing?" No.
Like, yep, I am. Yeah.
Overwhelmed with emotion.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we had fun telling you our stories. If you have any to tell, drop them into the chat, and we'll see you next week. Take care.